Welcome to the Team Engagement Podcast, where leaders of teams share their insights. We discuss 6 questions in 9 minutes because leaders know how to be concise. We'll go ahead and jump right to it with our first guest today. First question, in a few sentences, tell us who you are and what you do.
My name is Cody Guymon. I am the COO of Global Sales at Qualtrics, and originally from Bay Area in California, moved out here to Utah about 15 years ago. I'm loving it.
Fantastic. Question number 2, what's the best thing about working with a team?
I think getting different perspectives. When we're just by ourselves, we've only got our own. So I like to encourage and foster a lot of collaboration, a lot of differing viewpoints, just to be able to get to the best conclusion. So I think learning from different perspectives.
Fantastic. Question number 3, I hear from other leaders of teams that it can be a challenge to get team members engaged. Tell us your thoughts.
Yeah, I've found when I'm most disengaged in my career, it's because I don't see what my day-to-day is doing that's connected to the end goal of the company. So the thing that I do as a leader with my team is to try and make sure that every day-to-day task that we're doing has the bigger vision, that it's, connected to an ultimate goal. At Qualtrics, we do what we call OKRs, objectives and key results. So everything that we're putting in, whether it's a daily task or a quarterly kind of bigger project, is tied and linked to a company big bet or a company objective. And we have a few of those per year. So I think that's key. I also think it's important to make sure people are happy. So if they're happy, they're going to be engaged. So sometimes it can be stuff outside of work that's, weighing someone down and making them not engaged, but really making sure to have the one-on-ones weekly with team members is important as well.
So you hold your one-on-ones weekly?
I do, yep. I have one-on-ones weekly, and then quarterly kind of do a longer one-on-one session that's about an hour and a half.
That's great information. I really like what you shared there about keeping people happy and having it connect to those larger company goals. That is such a critical component to help people feel engaged. I love that. Thanks for sharing that.
Yeah, no problem.
Question number 4, what other advice would you offer to leaders of teams?
So I thought about this one long and hard when I saw this question. I think have fun is the first one. So if you're going to lead teams, have fun. Make like I said, the day-to-day tasks, connecting that to the bigger goals, but also just enjoying the day. I think happy employees make the best employees, including myself. So having fun in whatever way that we can. Second one would be finding out what makes each team member happy. So for some people on my team, I've kind of dug in and found out that it might be just really being on exciting projects. For others, it might be having a work-life flexibility that's the most important. We might have a working mom that needs to take kids to school, or a working dad that takes kids to school and back and forth, and maybe needs to shift around hours. Maybe you could get up earlier, start work at 6 a.m. versus 8 and might finish a little earlier. So kind of allowing each team member to custom design their schedule as needed, I've found provides a level of trust that's huge between a leader and their people. And then in return, with trust, you get a lot of hard work and you get a lot of dedication and usually reduced attrition and things of that nature, which is really good. So I think that's important. And then my leadership philosophy is not to micromanage. That'd be the third thing I talk about. Is I like to set the big goal. This is where we need to be by this time, and then allow each team member the flexibility to innovate and to get there how and which way they choose, because you end up usually finding a lot of innovation that way that could help the rest of the team. So I don't like to micromanage the day-to-day. I like to focus on the outcomes and the objectives, and then allow each team member, because of that trust we've established, the flexibility to get there how they want to.
Those are great ideas. I love those. And you've got some really, in my view at least, spot on ways of helping people stay engaged and really developing those leaders into great servant leaders to help their people. And this idea of individualization is becoming more and more of an important key component for employees to consider with their employers or prospective employers. Is how are you going to treat me as an individual, or am I just going to be a number? So
yeah, especially right now with everybody working remote, right? I just picked up my daughter from preschool down the street because our youngest is taking a nap, and so we don't have to wake him up to go to preschool. It took me 10 minutes, but being able to block that out of my calendar each day and know that I can make up for that either earlier in the day or later in the day to make sure I'm fulfilling my obligation to Qualtrics is just a fantastic way to go about a work-life balance, because I think it's super crucial that we strive for that.
Well, I think that's great. Fantastic. Question number 5. What other successful leaders of teams, such as yourself, would you like to recognize that have had a positive influence in your life?
Awesome. I really admire Nate Randall. Currently works at Qualtrics, VP Marketing, was the CMO at Vivint when I met him there years ago, but I love his leadership style. And then I'd like to call it Dwayne Richens, who I believe you know Dwayne well. Just fantastic leader. Really admire him as well. So those would be the 2.
Great recommendations. Thank you. And yes, I do know Dwayne and agree with your recognition of him as well. So thank you for sharing those. Cody, last question. Tell us about your first job.
My first job, well, I'll go with 2. The first one, quick, was just mowing lawns in the neighborhood. I've even got my little business card that I made when I was like 10 years old right here. I made with some clip art on a really old computer, and I went around, door to door knocking and mowing lawns for $5. So that was my first unofficial job. My first real job that I actually like filled out tax forms for and everything was working at Togo's. It's a sandwich shop in California. It's kind of it's a chain for sure, but I loved making sandwiches. It was the only place that would hire a 15-year-old and put them on payroll. So made sandwiches for people, had fun with it. Only lasted a couple months because I figured I could make some more money mowing lawns than working for $6 an hour. But it was fun. Enjoyed it.
That's great. Well, thank you for sharing those. Cody, thank you so much for being on the podcast. How can people find you?
You can find me on LinkedIn. I think it's probably most, where I'll be able to reach out in the messages section of LinkedIn. And then also you can email me personally at codyguymon@gmail.com. Just my first and last name. So love to hear from anybody that's got questions or wants to meet up for lunch or anything like that.
Fantastic. Thank you. This is Sean Richards with the Team Engagement Podcast, where leaders of teams share their insights. For more ideas, you can find us on LinkedIn by searching Blue Sky Business Consulting. Thanks for joining us. Have a great day.